So a very good afternoon to our beloved lecturer, Madam Alia Ahmad, and to our beloved friends. So by the way, my name is Ilaiki Morris, and I am from DPH Code 18, and I currently studying in KPJ International College, Penang. So today, the topic that I would like to discuss is about the COVID-19 vaccine that are used in Malaysia. So for now, there are 8 types of COVID-19 vaccines that we use in Malaysia. For example, sorry about that. Firstly is the Pfizer company who owns the Comirnaty vaccine, the Oxford or AstraZeneca company who owns Vaxzevria, and the Sinovac company who owns the CoronaVac, the Johnson & Johnson company who owns the AD26-CoV-2S, and CanSino, which owns the Convidecia vaccine, the Barrett Biotech company who owns the Covaxin vaccine, the Sinopharm Beijing company who owns Covelo vaccine, and last but not least is the Moderna company who owns Spikevax. So this is the example of the Pfizer vaccine. So this vaccine, the company name is Pfizer-BioNTech, and the name of the vaccine is Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccine. Right. So the type of vaccine is nucleic acid vaccine or genetic vaccine. So how does it work? It contains a genetic material from the SARS-CoV-2 virus that codes for a specific protein. So all body cells use genetic material to produce the SARS-CoV-2 protein, which the immune system recognizes and responds to. So this response strengthens immunological memory, allowing your body to resist SARS-CoV-2. So how many doses? So for the single dose, it will be 0.3 ml. And the second dose is taken right after 3 to 8 weeks with the same amount of dose. Now let's move on to the second dose, the second vaccine, which is owned by the Oxford and the AstraZeneca company. So this is the example of the pictures. So right now, this vaccine is owned by a company named Oxford or AZ, AstraZeneca. So the name of the vaccine is known to be Vaxzevria, and its type is a non-replicating viral vector vaccine. So how does this work? So AZD1222 is a viral vector vaccine that uses a harmless virus to deliver pathogen genetic material into cells, which cause an immune response to the original pathogen. So the genetic material of the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is modified into a weakened type of chimpanzee adenovirus in this vaccine so that it does not infect humans. So the injected vaccine is then stimulates the body immune system to produce antibodies against the spike proteins. So when the immune system recognizes the spike protein, it is able to fight off infections when the virus attempts to enter the body. So this form of vaccine employs a safe virus to deliver specific subparts of the germ of interest, known as proteins, in order to elicit an immune response without causing a disease. So for how many doses? So for a single dose or one dose consists about 0.5 ml, and the second dose is given after 4 to 12 weeks, which consists of the same amount of dose as the first dose. So this is the example of the CoronaVac vaccine. So the company who owns this vaccine is the Sinovac company. So the name of this vaccine is known to be CoronaVac. So the type of vaccine is an inactivated vaccine. So how does this work in the body? It contains copies of the virus that has been killed. The first step in creating this virus is to inactivate or destroy the virus, or one that is very similar to it, using chemicals, heat, or radiation. So the immune system recognizes the destroyed or inactivated virus, which then triggers a response without causing illness. Even though the pathogen is no longer alive, the immune system still can learn from its antigens on how to fight the future live versions. So for a single dose, it consists about 0.3 ml. So the second dose is taken right after maybe 2 to 4 weeks, which consists the same amount of dose as the single dose. So this is the example of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine right here. So these are the examples. So the company who owns this vaccine is the Johnson & Johnson company. And the name of the vaccine is AD26-CoV2S. So the type of vaccine is non-replicating viral vector vaccine. So how does this work? So the SARS-CoV-2 genetic material is delivered via a virus that is unrelated and harmless. A viral vector is a type of delivery virus. It is accomplished by sending the instructions or the viral genetic material for producing a little piece of the virus, which is the viral protein, which is wrapped inside a harmless virus that cannot replicate itself. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine introduces the virus DNA into cells, causing them to produce the spike protein. So an adenovirus serves as a vehicle for the transmission of coronavirus genetic material, the DNA. Right. So the adenovirus delivers a small piece of DNA to the cell, which then produces the spike protein. So your immune system creates antibodies against the spike protein after your cells produces it, to protect you from the infection. So for a single dose, it consists of about like 0.5 ml. So after first dose, booster dose should be given after 2 months with the same quantity of dose, which is 0.5 ml. So now we're moving on to the fifth vaccine, which is owned by the CanSino company. So these are the examples of the COVID this year. So right here, next. So the company who owns this vaccine is going to be the CanSino company, and the name of the vaccine is Convidecia vaccine. So the type of this vaccine is a non-replicating viral vector vaccine. So how does this work in the body? So the COVID-19 virus does not cause COVID-19 in the body. Instead, a distinct harmless virus that serves as a vaccine vector. So it enters the muscle cells and makes harmless component of a protein known as a spike protein by using a machinery of the cells. So on the outside of the virus that causes COVID-19, the spike protein is present. Our cells degrade and eliminate the vector virus after producing the spike protein component. So the spike protein is then visible on our cell surfaces. The spike protein does not belong there, and our immune system knows it. So therefore, as a result, our immune system begins to generate antibodies and activate other immune cells in an effort to combat the infection that it perceives to be present. So for the single dose, it consists about like 0.5 ml, and this vaccine is only be taken for people who are, or individuals who are age 18 and above. So let's move on to the sixth vaccine, which is the Bharat Biotech vaccine. Right, so these are the examples. So the vaccine is known to be the Covaxin and is owned by the Bharat Biotech. So each type is an inactivated vaccine. So how does this work? The pathogen is eliminated or rendered incapable of replication in an inactivated vaccination. So because it cannot spread the virus, it is safe for people with weakened immune systems or people who are prone to uh, like such as having uh, diseases or maybe have a weak immune system. They can take this virus. They can be vaccinated with this. They can be vaccinated with this vaccine. So it is safe for people with weakened immune systems. In order to stop the virus from multiplying, the genetic material of the pathogen is often destroyed using heat, radiation, or chemicals in the inactivation process. So strong immune responses can be brought on by inactivated vaccinations, but they are often weaker than those brought on by live attenuated vaccines. As a result, to guarantee continuous protection, a person would need booster doses. So for this vaccine, it requires about consists about 0.5 ml, and the second dose will be provided, can be vaccinated into a person or an individual right after 4 weeks. So this is the example of the vaccine which is owned by the Sinopharm company. So the company Sinopharm Beijing owns the vaccine known as Covillo, and it is known to be an inactivated vaccine. So how does this work in the body? So it has replicas of the virus that was killed out. This virus or a virus that is similar to it must be first be inactivated or destroyed using chemicals, heat, or radiation in order to create a vaccine. So when the immune system detects a dead or inactive virus, it responds without making a person sick. So the immune system can still learn how to combat future living forms of the disease via its antigens, even though it is no longer alive. So how many doses it is? It has 0.5 uh, ml, right? So yes, it only consists of about 0.5 ml. And the second dose will be given after 4 weeks, which consists of about the same amount. All right, so next, last but not least, this is the Moderna COVID vaccine. So the company Moderna, they own a vaccine known to be the Spikevax. So its type is known to be a nucleic acid vaccine or known as a genetic vaccine. So the mRNA will enter the muscle cells following vaccination. Once inside, they use a machinery of the cells to produce a harmless piece of protein known as the spike protein. So the spike protein is found on the surface of the COVID-19 virus. After the protein fragment is formed, our cells degrade, then the mRNA and remove it. So our cells then display the spike protein fragment on their surface. So our immune system recognizes that the protein is not supposed to be there. So this causes our immune system to produce antibodies and activate other immune cells in order to combat what is perceives to be an infection. So this is what your body might do if you got COVID-19, right? So how many doses are there? So for a single dose, it consists of about 0.3 ml, and the second dose will be given right after 2 weeks. Right. So that is all from me. Thank you for listening.